Welcome, listeners. You are listening to River West Radio 104.1 FM WXR WLP Milwaukee. Don't forget to tell Siri, Google, and Alexa, hey, play WXRW. This show is the Ability MKE Now with Dave Stevens. I'm your co-host, Marcus Hart of the Transform You Media Network. Take it away, Dave.
Hey, thanks, Marcus, and it's great to be here again. Hi, everybody out there in Arizona and Minnesota and Florida and, of course, Milwaukee and everybody on WXRW 104.1, and we got to thank RiverWestRadio.com. A great show tonight. Very excited to have the regular people, but we got an amazing guest tonight. Going to bring in Anna Maria Bliven. She'll be here at the end of the show. Wave, Anna Maria. Say hi out there to the people that are watching. The people that are listening, say hi so they can hear your voice. Say hello to America.
Hello.
There we go. Okay. So, and of course, Marcus, my DJ, Marcus Hart is going to be here all night. But tonight, I've got to bring in the guy that I'm so excited to have him here. It's really cool. I've worked with him for over 20 some odd years. We've been together. He's been a mainstay at ESPN. Of course, if you don't know his career, Kenny Mayne has started in college. He was a college quarterback at UNLV. He was the backup to Randall Cunningham. You may have to Google that name, but he was a legendary quarterback. He got injured and decided to become a broadcaster after working as a garbage guy, I guess, for a little while. But Kenny Mayne joins us. And Kenny, hey, thanks for being a part of tonight. And welcome to Ability MKE Now.
You were bragging up the other day about all these great guests you have, and then you're stuck with me 2 days later. So sorry about this, but you'll get better guys down the road. By the way, Randall was behind me. I was second string. Guy named Sam King. You can look it up. 1981. Sam. This is 1980 where I broke my leg. But the next year, 81, Sam King led the nation in passing yards. I was his backup. Then there was Alan Reynolds, and then Randall Cunningham. Randall was a freshman. The only reason why we'd ever be ahead of him, because we all knew he was destined for great things. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but good guy. He's a pastor in Las Vegas now.
Well, you're at ESPN right now doing a SportsCenter tonight, so thanks for taking the time to join us. And I got so much to cover. I don't know how much time we totally have, but first, the important thing for me to get out of the way is you take a look at that picture that we showed, and the radio crowd can't see it, but you're on the ground, you're hurt. And that led to injuries that you had down the line, all kinds of surgeries. You thought you were going to lose your leg. And now you have an organization called runfreely.org that I kind of threw a lot out there at the same time, but if you could kind of describe your injury, what happened, and why we have runfreely.org.
We were getting beaten by Oregon my junior year, like 33-9 or something. I'm in there at the end. Larry Gentry was the start of that year. And why not throw a pass on the last play of the game, Some guy decided to stick his helmet on my ankle, and I had what was called a fracture dislocation. So that means you break the bone and you tear all the ligaments down there. And so that didn't feel great. But I came back and played the next year. When you're young, you just come back. But many, many years later, I'd had, like you said, I think 10 surgeries. I lost track. Bone spurs, pins in, pins out, you name it. And as I got older, it just started locking up more and more pain came. And I truly considered taking it off. Like, I'm not saying that jokingly. Like, it hurt so bad. I was, probably in depression, didn't even want to recognize it. Like I got to get out of bed today, like every day. So unless you kind of know that pain, it's kind of hard for other people to relate to. But fortunately for me, I won't go through every last iteration of it, but I ended up meeting a guy in Gig Harbor, Washington, that's near Tacoma. And his name's Ryan Blanc. And he invented this insane device. It's called an exosim, made out of carbon fiber. And all these soldiers were using, all these veterans who had what they call limb salvage conditions, right? You either got to take it off or you need something to support yourself to, be moving without pain. And I tried it and couldn't believe it. Like, I cried for about 3 hours when I first got it, because just the difference when sticking that thing on my leg, and you've seen me play flag football with you, you're like a new person. It doesn't fix your injury, but it lets you do things that you can't do otherwise. So Gretchen, my wife, and it's on the website, we were like, we got to do something good with this. Like, we can't just take ours and run and forget about how it was founded, because Ryan made these specifically for veterans coming back who were in these situations. So it's really just like a debt. Like, I felt like I kind of owed it to the veterans who, they did the R&D, to put it crudely, right? They went out and got hurt at war. and I benefited from what they needed to help them. So we have, what is it, August? I guess we've been going for 2 years now, and I don't know the exact number. I have to look it up. We're almost one a month. So it's not like a huge organization, but that's 24 men and women whose lives have changed because people have donated. We've done a couple events. We've had great help. I mean, Dale Earnhardt helped, Jamal Crawford. I'm going to leave out some names. Jerry Rice, Lenny Wilkins, Gary Payton. I just left out a name. Who's the other guy that was there? I'll think of it. It's just been great. Just all the support. Steve Kerr helped out. I could go on and on with all the different people. Chris Long. And a bunch of people whose names we don't know, or you wouldn't know, that have just chipped in $5, $20, $100, and it seems like it's so strange. We just had to pay for the last recipient. He got his about 2 weeks ago, and the guy called me. They emailed the bill. They're very, very loose about it, like pay when we get it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot that we'd okayed that. I literally forgot we had okayed that particular guy, and I didn't think we even had the money left. I go to the bank. We were like $30 short. So we're able to pay that. Now we're going to raise money and get the next one. Sometimes we get in a position where we can get 2 or 3 at once, but we're really just kind of a one by one organization. We're pretty small ball.
Well, for more information, please go to information is available at runfreely.org. Again, a great initiative that you're doing, especially with the bad wheel. And I know we've talked about the flag football. You and I have been a part of some amazing events. We've been with the Village people at the Super Bowls and done some amazing things. We get to run into Brett Favre and see one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But for me, I think my favorite thing was when you and I were in Arizona and we were paired with Snoop Dogg at the Super Bowl in Arizona. And the games we're talking about was a veterans organization where you have guys missing arms, legs. We had our BJ Ganem and Jeremy Stengel on last week talking about that. But for those that aren't aware of it, it's a great game where we get superstars. And we had Snoop Dogg. And we had one play where Kenny said, okay, I'm going to take the snap. I'm going to pitch it back to you, Dave. And so you throw it back to me. And Snoop was Snoop. And I guess I don't know if he'd had what he had pregame for his meal or whatever, but he kind of stood around the backfield and
he needed to take a play off. Actually, though, you're talking about that one instance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Snoop was maybe my most reliable receiver. Knows football. He's athletic. You look at him; he's all ready to go. He's got the uniform all set, and he made a couple good catches. In fact, he caught a touchdown at that Arizona game, and he also played at the San Francisco game when the Super Bowl was held there as well. So he's been out a couple times. We've had all sorts of support for that, and we haven't been able to do it, because of what's going on in the country and the world. Last one we played was down there at the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl. But it's so fun, and everybody kind of gets a benefit from it. The veterans get to do, a pretty fun night, get to meet all these people, get to play something they've grown up loving. The fans, and it's not like charity. Like one of the guys, I think it was Jacob Schick, he had this expression about pet a soldier, he called it. And kind of people know when people are being sincere or people are just kind of saying things for drill. And in this case, everybody at every time I've gone to one of these things is blessed from going. Like I said, the players, the fans, the ex-pro players are like, this was the coolest night I've had in a long time. Just meeting the people and having a competitive game. It's kind of like I'd call it a 3/4 game. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody, but everybody, once you get out there, you're trying hard. And we have a couple of one-handed receivers that are pretty solid. So it's fun. I look forward to the next game.
And you've had a no-legged guy that how many of these games we played into so many together? It's just it's been awesome. The things that you and I have done and the places we've been. And, for our radio viewers, I have a picture up now of some of the things Kenny and I have done together. We've been at Lambeau Field. We've played, in all the Super Bowl cities and Philadelphia with Ron Jaworski. And, it's such an amazing event. And I think it's more important for the veterans than the fans and the stars themselves. Your thoughts, Kenny?
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, everybody kind of gets something from it. And I've been asked a whole bunch of times, why do you guys play these games? Like, what's the purpose? What's the mission? And I'm like, I think it's just to play the games. I don't know if there's, we're not really raising money for a cause or anything. They get some sponsors who've been good enough to support it, to fly the people in and pay for the stadium rentals and that type of thing. But it's just to do it. It's for the sake of doing it. And a lot of people say like Super Bowl week, we usually hold it on a Wednesday night.
Right.
A lot of people I've talked to have said, dude, I went to this party and that event and this opening, and your thing was the coolest thing I went to. Just, it's a very real event, it's very raw and real. And some of these guys, I wish I could remember his name. It was the very first one I was in New Jersey, when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And I remember him being so nervous before the game because this was going to be the first time he'd gone out in public wearing his sticks, he called them, right? Wearing his prosthetic. And he ended up having a really good game. I think he caught a touchdown. He made some defensive plays. And afterward, he was nearly in tears. Like, it meant so much, putting himself at risk out there. Like, I don't want to make a fool of myself and trip or anything like that. Instead, he had a great game. Turned out, legs worked pretty well. And everybody comes with a different thing. We have a couple people in wheelchairs. They usually give us one free touchdown, and we get kind of like an honorary touchdown with, pushing one of our guys or girls in a wheelchair. And we have some women out there, right? Jen Welter, first coach in the NFL, first female coach in the NFL. She's tough, and we don't want to put out the info, but next quarterback facing us, she's usually coming after you. She's our speed rusher.
Yeah, these have been great, and I hope they continue with BJ and the guys in the future. Yeah. And you're listening to Ability MKE Now with Dave Stevens and Marcus Hart, and joining me today is Kenny Mayne, a SportsCenter icon. He's been in commercials, he's been in movies, he's done radio work, he's done cartoon work, he's been on Clerks, the cartoon. Like, are there any of these weird things that stick out in your mind as far as some of the things that you've done that really had nothing to do with sports?
I like doing them. I mean, I like doing SportsCenter still. I like doing the stories when I was doing whatever I've done at ESPN. It's usually been fun, but getting to do the extra stuff, it's just different. Anytime you're used to what you do, we've all done SportsCenters. You walk over there, you put on your tie, and you go and you call highlights. So each show is important, but yet you've done it a million times, right? So when you get to do these kind of like one-off specialty things, few years ago, the movie Trainwreck, I got asked last minute. They called me literally like on a Monday and said, can you be in New York on a Wednesday? Like, I needed to fly the next day. And I remember I had my daughters with me that week. I said, if one of them was somewhere else, but I said, if you can fly my daughter with me, I can go. And they're like, sure, bring your daughter. So we fly to New York, ended up shooting with Amy Schumer, and Tony Romo was in it. It was crazy fun. I ended up getting cut. I was so sad when they gave me the phone call. They were like, really funny scenes, just didn't time out. We had to take out something. So I'm on the DVD extra of that show if you get the DVD, but I did not make the final cut, sadly enough.
Now, also, I got to mention it because you've had a long association with the show, even though you may have been one of the shortest cast members for Dancing with the Stars, but still, they bring you back. They still always talk about you. I mean, what was that experience? And I remember when you were there, what you were going through, all the stuff you had to do that was, training and all that. And you took it very serious, especially with your bad wheel. I just was wondering if you still reminisce about those days of Dancing with the Stars.
I've let it go. My ankle wasn't as bad. That's a long time ago. That's like 2005, 2006, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's quite a while ago. And my ankle was doing better, so I could actually, put on the dance shoes and dress around the floor. I just remember that was Andrea Hale, that was my dancer. And I remember telling her, I'm a horrible dancer. I have a little bit of, I can play sticks. I can play beats to music, but I'm not necessarily a great dancer. I said, why don't we make it super simple, and we'll wow them with the little tiny bit that I have mastered. They'll think I'm good because I stay in this little area, right? And she's like, no. We're going to go every part of the floor, and they're going to be more wowed because of your ambition that you tried all these things. Our plan failed. I was like sprinting after her, trying to get to my next spot because she had this elaborate thing. You had to be here, and you had to turn this way, and you had to hold it this way, and you got to remember it. We do it over and over and over. But when it came time to do it, I'm like, what in the heck did I get myself into here? But boom, music starts. You got 90 seconds, whatever it was. So I got kicked off rather quickly. Jerry Rice and I came back many, many times to do like a fake sports center. We called it Dance Center. I got to work with our friend Lynn Goodman, the judge. So, no, I don't regret it. I wish I had practiced more. Jerry Rice told me he was practicing 7 days a week, twice a day. He was doing it like football. I was doing it like 2 or 3 times a week, kind of like, I hope I remember what's going on.
And you had that other job too, right? You still had another job.
Yeah, you said that at the beginning. of this, you said I was still keeping up my job, which was true. I was doing NFL stories at the time. So every week I had to make up a new NFL feature. We did these kind of like fictional accounts of the NFL. And so maybe I'd practice on Monday, fly Tuesday, Wednesday, come back and do one more on Thursday, and then fly to LA. And it was fun, but I don't know that I could hack it these days. The brace would limit me somewhat.
You haven't been limited. Marcus, I know you had a couple of questions you wanted to get into Kenny before he's got to head out of here. What are your thoughts of this, the Magic Man? He doesn't seem to age. I think are you 61 now, Kenny?
Just 60.
Just 60.
We got to throw, I thought you were going to mention it.
Well,
we don't want to reveal it, but we got to throw a first pitch for the Mariners the other day together.
Yeah, that's coming up August 20th. You can, we'll be able to see that. But Marcus, I didn't mean to interrupt you, my friend.
Yeah, but the age is not showing at all, Kenny, and very admirable. With everything you have done in your life, and and especially the very first thing the first deed you did was just giving over that technology to the veterans. I was listening back and thinking back to that. It's like that's really incredible, and just thinking back to season 2. Of Dance with the Stars, definitely remember that. You've been known for your dry humor, and one aspect of what I have learned, to deal with my mental health and especially multiple PTSD symptoms. There's a lot of people out here, who's dealing with that. Tell us how you just construct your dry humor, and and maybe how you can just encourage people out there who may be just going through this rough time right now and may have a little touch of mental health.
Well, it's funny. Michelle Obama just mentioned that in the news, right? That she said she's going through sort of a low-grade depression, and very honest statement, because I think we all are, right? I mean, if we really admit it, I just talked to my daughter today. She's debating whether or not she's going to sign up for her next semester at college or take a semester off because things are so unsettled. And I just told her, like, we're all living through something, it's a 100-year event, right? It hasn't happened since 1918, something quite like this. And with everything else involved, election coming up, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on all of us every day, and we're all just trying to go day by day. I've never lived more day by day than I have in the last many months, which I'm sure is true for many others. And believe me, we take our blessings, we don't take them for granted. Gretchen and I talk about it all the time. I'm still working, we're still getting paid. There's all sorts of people out there who are hurting, not knowing how they're going to pay rent, not knowing how they're going to feed their kids. So we try to help in a bunch of different ways with that. There's a couple of great food banks that we support out in Seattle, one in Boston where my daughter goes to school. So everybody who can do it, I think it's just incumbent on you, it's like help out your neighbor, and it's all going to come back anyway, right? Somebody else, the old pay it forward cliche is very true. Like, you help somebody now, maybe they're going to help somebody when they get on their feet, and on and on and on, because there's this girl I listen to named Sarah Kendzior. She has a podcast, and she's always stressed work in your community first. Like, we're all thinking about national stuff, international stuff, but you got to start with your next door neighbor. Then you got to start with your school, and you got to start with your community. So hopefully everybody's looking at it that way as well as they can, because this is a lot for us to get through, and we're not really close to getting through it either. So hopefully we all are kind of like pulling on each other or picking up each other to get through this period in our existence. But to your point about the humor, I think at the same time, you still try to find, right? I mean, it's what they call it, gallows humor. You still try to find something funny in the day, no matter your dire situation, whatever it is, right? Like, the only way to face things sometimes is to laugh about it. And you mentioned the PTSD. I think people are having PTS from this, right? Just things absolutely remind them of your situation, or something flashes on the TV screen and kind of sets you back. So hopefully people are finding whatever that piece is, even if it's 5 minutes a day or meditation or whatever gets them through the next day, because, we need new energy. What's that great quote from Vince Lombardi, right? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. I saw that when we went to Green Bay, when we went through the Green Bay Hall of Fame. And it's such a beautiful quote. It just reminds you, like, if you're tired today, get your rest, drink your water, get up the next day. If somebody else needs a little help, reach out and help them. I've seen that a bunch of times on Twitter where people say, think of a few people in your life who could just use whatever, a phone call, a tweet, anything. And each of us find a way to lift some other people up and kind of bond together, stick together, and get through this. Have we ceased? What just happened? Did I say something wrong? Are we back?
You got me?
Oh, I'm back.
Okay.
It went to
Sorry
a
about
still
that.
shot. You know, could I
I'm
mention?
still learning this. Anyway,
He
I was
mentioned
saying,
something that triggered another thought for me.
yeah, I was just, for you, you've had longevity where, guys are not in the business anymore, and your humor has been a good part of that. And I just wonder, do you have a key to what's been your success?
I don't know if I have any method. I don't usually analyze it unless I'm asked to analyze it. You know what I mean? Right? I just what's today? Thursday? Like tomorrow's Friday, right? I'll do tonight's show and get my rest and work out and have something to eat and see Gretchen and come back and do it again. First, it's like the old, what's the adage in medicine? Like first do no harm. So like the other night, and I take that very seriously. Like I screw around a lot on the show, but we take very seriously doing the show right? There's kind of a difference. Like don't take yourself too seriously, have fun with the show, but get it right. The other day I screwed up a score, but I had to continue to make fun of it the rest of the show, or people watching wouldn't, right? It wouldn't be genuine if I just tried to I didn't say that and just move on. So I don't even know how I had the wrong team winning the very first highlight. I said, and the Lakers win. And then as soon as I said, John's like, actually they got throttled. Yeah. And then, so I just kind of made that a running joke of the rest of the show. Let's update that Laker loss again, because I think most people watching, especially these days when they have the internet and they know the score a lot of times before they even watch us, like you have to be genuine with people. So if we do well, keep on going. If we screw it up, admit your mistake and carry on.
Except now they can rewind it and immediately tweet your mistakes and point out all your stupid.
Well, you know what though? We do get those people that not that many though. I actually appreciate it when people get on Twitter and say, "Hey, Kenny, that guy's name for North Dakota State is actually blah blah blah." Whatever it is, because we can't know every last person. Sometimes you get a shot sheet given to you and you have 3 seconds to and let's go to that game. So it's not like we have a ton of prep time. As much time as you have, you put into it, and you circle a name or ask a question and make sure you get it right. But other than that, it's just sports. Team A played Team B, and somebody dunked, and somebody lost, and somebody won. And
but it's funny because people think, and there's your famous commercial that you've had where you're coming up with all the catchphrases, but sometimes they're so organic. Like you and I were sitting around the newsroom one night, and you needed an obscure player, and it became one of your catchphrases. One of my buddies who was a baseball player for the Twins, but people don't realize that you always seek out things and ask questions, and you get good lines and things. And I was always excited to be a part of being a catchphrase that you had for a few years.
You know what? We're going to break out Al Newman tonight. So the joke was, you've heard it 1,000 times, where like there'll be another person with the name Michael Jordan as an example, right? And then they always say, not that Michael Jordan, or a similar last name to a famous athlete, and people say no relation, and everybody gets, if the guy has, Havlicek, next Havlicek, but he's no relation, right? And I don't remember who it was, why I wanted that joke, but you're like, why don't you say Al Newman? So the guy's name was, Joe Smith, and I'd be like, no relation to Al Newman. It wasn't for everybody, but certain of those are fun to bring back because I get bored with some of my own stuff, and I try to scribble down. I'll be in the car and just whatever. I see something funny, a funny sign, or something pops in your head, and you just kind of scribble down a line, and you find a way to employ that another time. Like the other night, Aaron Judge hit just like a ridiculous bomb home run, and I remembered I'd seen this silent movie many years ago, and the line on the screen said, "I am Golthar the Terrible. What have I to fear from Rome?"
I wondered what that was
so powerful, like something a guy would shout his defiance of the man. So yeah, for certain players, I remember Griffey. I always like saying, "I'm amused by the simplicity of this game." It just fit him, right? He was such a natural. I like for my Hispanic players, I use my Spanish a little bit. La pelota no está aquí. Hopefully they appreciate it. But yeah, you can't get bored with you. If you get bored with yourself, it's got to be boring out there. Mostly we're just trying to entertain the people in the room, right? It's me, the other anchor, one or two camera, a floor director. Under COVID, we'd had it very reduced. Now we're expanding a little bit. Connecticut seems to be doing it right. But we're all far apart from each other. They're wearing masks. We're trying to follow the rules. But yeah, each show by show, like you were saying, a lot of it's organic. Like something happens in the show, and that becomes something you repeat in the show because you didn't know it was going to happen until it happens, right? We had Masvidal, the UFC guy, playing cornhole against Cody Henderson last night. Like, who expected that to happen? So,
and he didn't beat him up.
Bring that joke back.
Well, Kenny, I don't know. We gotta go to the top of the hour, but you probably got to run. So I just wanted to thank you for your time and your continued efforts, on the air. But again, for more information is available at runfreely.org. It's a great thing that you're doing for vets, and I'm glad our paths are crossed. And I hope on August 20th we can let everybody see what you did with the yard goats, and we'll get it. You got to get it on top plays, right?
Yeah, they'll do something. I'm not working that night, but I'm sure they'll factor it in. I improve. So Run Freely, RUNFREELY, runfreely.org. And I'll give you one more. You guys can look it up on your own. It's called Fair Fight, and they're protecting voter rights. That's something else I'm rather interested in.
All right. Well, thank you, Kenny Mayne. Have a great night. And again, appreciate you stopping by and having a little time for us. So
no worries. Thanks for having me.
Next time. Thanks, Kenny Mayne, joining us now. And I get to bring in the rest of my crew here, and Marcus and Anna Maria Bliven. I know that's a tough act to follow, but we're going to continue through, and we'll plod through. For those of us that are not going to stick with us on riverwestradio.com, you can jump over on the internet on Facebook, Instagram, all those good things. But again, you're listening to WXRW Ability MKE Now. I'm bringing in Anna Maria. Anna, you want to talk about something that I think people they're a little leery of sometimes when we talk about online jobs and trying to find those things. We always think about, I got an offer to get $1 million from this king in Bolivia or something crazy like that. But there are legitimate ways to make and earn a living for everybody, homeless, vets, on the internet.
That's correct. Working at home, a remote job, is especially a big benefit for those that are disabled or somebody that has come back from the theater and just can't cope with a group type of employment situation. And so I've been working for the last 18 years, working at home as a remote employee, and I've learned quite a bit of things that are helpful to those that want to start working at home. And one of those is how not to get scammed in the process. So I'm going to quickly give you some tips. When you hover your mouse over a hyperlink, pay attention to what happens right before you click. Go to the bottom of your screen, and if you see a lot of characters, letters, numbers, and it's strewn from left to right, don't click that hyperlink. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you straight off. Don't do it. Because if you click that hyperlink, you may be sad that you did that, or sorry because it took you to a place that you didn't want to really go. I want to tell you too that there's a lot of kidnapped websites that you may think you are clicking that will take you to a particular website when in fact it's been hijacked, and you really got to be careful. So what I tell my clients is that if you want to go to a particular website and you see that at the bottom of your search results, just go to the website. Don't click that icon. Just go to the website. Go to your Google, open a new browser, and type in the website, and it'll take you straight to it, and you won't be scammed. Another thing is that when you're on a website, let's say you're looking for a job, and it sounds like this is a position that you really want to go for, and this is a company that you would really like to work for. How do you know that it's a real company and that it's a real job?
Well, we'll find that out. We'll leave them hanging. So everybody stay with us. We're going to wrap up here. This is Dave Stevens. It's been a great night with my buddy Kenny Mayne on Ability MKE Now. So make sure that you guys stick with us every single week. My man Marcus, let's take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much, River West Radio listeners. We enjoy doing this show every week for you guys. What a great episode we had with the Ability MKE Now with Dave Stevens. We appreciate our guest so much for sharing his story and making this episode one of a kind. You can go back and listen again and again through the archives. Feel free to get those at riverwestradio.com. Go into shows, click on Ability MKE Now. We welcome you to our Facebook group as well, Ability MKE Now, and consider a like for our Facebook page as well. Take care and many blessings, peace, and lots of love. Continue on listening to WXRW LP.
Welcome to the second half of our show tonight. This is Dave Stevens. You're listening to Ability MKE Now. I'm Dave Stevens. I've got my man Marcus Hart down there, DJ, and of course Anna Maria Bliven. And we were talking earlier about the job opportunities out there and what those scams are, what to look forward to, and you said you can check on clicking on those links. But I think people, they get so frustrated. They've heard so many bad things. How do you drive them to the right things, and what are some of the things that they can do to fish out these fake scam artists?
Oh man. And I forgot to mention prosperitypathways.com. That's where you can go to get the guidance and assistance that it takes to maneuver through the internet and making sure that you're clicking where you need to click and you are seeking out the right job that fits you perfectly. But unfortunately, there are millions of people that want and need to work remotely, and that becomes a market for those that are not so nice, and they prey on people that are looking for remote work, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. So when you are seeing a hyperlink and you put your cursor on there, you really got to be careful to take a notice of what's going on with that hyperlink. If you've got letters and numbers and characters that go from left to right at the bottom of your screen, you better not click that hyperlink. If you are also in a search result of your Google search and you see at the bottom that you've got icons that are supposed to lead to those websites, be careful, though they could be kidnapped. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that are just traps set for you to literally put your foot in, and you're trapped. And prosperitypathways.com will guide you and assist you through the entire process for you to land your job. We just do that. We do that. We teach you exactly the tips, tricks, and techniques that it takes to land that job without getting scammed.
And Marcus, I want to bring you in here to address that point, because a lot of the veterans, I don't know if they think, internet work is beneath them, or, I wonder if you can, just kind of bring to light, like the thought process for these guys and their desperate modes, but they're probably thinking, hey, I don't know the internet. I don't know what I can do with a laptop, those kind of things.
Well, just to boil in on that a bit, and hang in on there what you said there. Yeah, I think a lot of veterans are just a bit skeptical sometimes, and I'm here to say to you, you don't have to be too skeptical. You're just about really just open yourself up to important organizations that have your best interests at heart. You can't navigate this thing alone, and that's not the way we were doing it when we were on the battlefield. We always had a trusted battle buddy, that was right there to our left or our right to guide us and navigate us when things got rough. So, what Anna Marie's doing. She's definitely navigating you through the tough waters. I don't think I wouldn't go and say the work is beneath you. I would say that it's more appropriate because it's real tough to integrate back into civilian life, and it'd be more appropriate in this respects to find a mission through this way.
Anna Marie, what's the biggest challenge to try to give them confidence? What's that like?
Ooh. Well, that's a really good question, because a lot of the online applications require you to do essay question And so some of my clients, they just freak out when they get to that part of their online application. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Why am I going to have to write an essay? They just feel as though they really can't, which is sad because, guys, it's just simply putting in some thoughts in the form of a sentence and in a paragraph, and you can do this. And what's more is you do your research of the company, you know what the company is saying for mission and their goals and their vision, and then you can address that in your essay. So you're not having to just pull ideas out of the sky. You're looking for those mission goals and vision statements that the company gives you. And then you address that as to how you understand what those are and how you can meet those. So you're proving that you can actually meet with those goals, but actually fit in their culture. So I once wrote something called, are you culturally compatible with your potential company? And wow, there was like million of viewers or readers that saw that and commented that people never really gave it a thought. But it's more than a long time ago. It's who you knew or what you knew or whatever like that. It's more like who you are today. And so as a veteran, we come to the table with a stacked deck. We are disciplined. We are dedicated, diligent. We are well trained. And if we can just hold on to that and be all that we can be, to quote the Army from years ago, but continue to move forward with the mission in life. You know, we're going from a mission battlefield to a new mission battlefield, and that being life. We can do this, guys. By the way, I'm a veteran of 26 years of the Army, so I'm speaking from a veteran's point of view. We can do this. We've been trained to do this. So do it.
Yeah, I'm so just impressed with the amount of numbers of people you're helping and continuing to do with Prosperity Pathways and Onward and Upward. And, you know, glad to have you guys a part of this show. And I'm still kind of giddy. I don't know your thoughts, Marcus. Again, I take these things for granted, but now that we've gotten this little show and we're getting these big names and stars, it's just such awesome to support the disability and ability world. And I just wanted your thoughts tonight, both you, Anna Maria and Marcus, as far as Kenny Mayne, just kind of a down-to-earth guy, a really good dude, and you know, I can honestly call him a good friend.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because he said something about that football game that you guys have within that Super Bowl week.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like, well, I'm not exactly sure why we do. Let me tell you from the viewpoint of a veteran, it is so important that we get back to the real life. It is so important that we have that slice of a real life. And to watch you guys play that game and to be a part of what it is that you do, that is a healing to us. And so that's probably why it is so popular and so well attended. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, but that is a healing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why it's been great. And Marcus, we shared some pictures earlier, and I don't mind going to them again, because here I am on a football field with Snoop Dogg as the quarterback, you know, telling people what to do. And as I said, you know, we snap the ball. Kenny Mayne hikes the ball. He's tossing it to me. I got Snoop Dogg behind me, who's supposed to run out of the backfield, but I think he'd had a little too much ganja that night, and because there he is standing next to the camera guy. I'm looking downfield for Snoop, but yeah, they're just amazing events to be a part of. And as you know, I've always felt like I've been a half brother to you veterans, because I got involved with that, and I brought Kenny Mayne and I brought all these stars in to be a part of that. So, you know, you can never do enough for vets, and that's why veterans that are helping themselves, like what you're doing, and Marcus with your teaching and mentoring for shows and podcasts, you know, it just adds to showing that veterans can do, you know, if guys like us can pick up internet things and do these little shows that, hey, I could work and I could provide for my family and I could find information for jobs or different doctors to help treat my PTSD or something like that. So I appreciate you guys giving these people the tools that we're going to try to show every single week. And Marcus, I just was curious, you know, you kind of sat back, but you had some great points as far as his humor and what your thoughts were on Kenny tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, reflecting back on, just, how he's been as a person, as a, as a character throughout the years, and and just to see it in real time, and just know that um, this is how you push forward in life. This is how you exemplify yourself to others, and and you be a light to others, to to encourage them, and once you discover what your true purpose is in life, you don't necessarily got to go around bragging about it. Most times, out of most people, just naturally just gravitate to it, and they they can take from what you have adopted into your life, and then instantly apply it in theirs, and and that's the most incredible thing that I took away from him, and and the mere fact that he has a real natural dry humor that he's not embarrassed about.
Yeah, so if hopefully there's a few people that can tune in tonight and watch SportsCenter. Hopefully you guys can watch it, and you'll see he'll probably say something about Al Newman, so that was for us, kind of those little the old Carol Burnett tug at your ear kind of thing. But again, he's 60 years old. I'm 54. We continue to hopefully do these things, and he is a great guy, and to have that longevity, and again, he really cares about people. The thing he was talking about for the first pitch. He was working on trying to throw 75 miles an hour. He didn't get to that, but he also said, "Hey, I need somebody to shoot it." And he asked me and my sons, and we shot it with our cell phones. He couldn't get a regular crew from ESPN, so here's this legless dude out there shooting. But that's going to appear on network TV. So it's one of those cool things, behind the scenes kind of things that Kenny is he's a good dude, and most people will bend over backwards, the stars and celebrities that help him for the causes and things like that. So hey, that's what all of this is all about. Ability MKE Now. Kenny was injured, he got hurt, he's overcome things, and now he's giving back to the veterans. So I'm just glad that I've had the ability to come in and be a part of what you guys are doing, as far as hopefully Ability Fest will take place October 26th through November 1st at the Sheraton Milwaukee. We hope that with this times going on with the pandemic, we're not sure, but the intent is to still do it. So thanks to Kurt and Susan Roscoff for what they're continuing to try to do. WXRW 104.1 on riverwestradio.com continuing to support us, and again, supporting those to show there's debilitating injuries, but there are people with abilities that can overcome so much. So as we wrap up tonight's show, and again, another star-studded, entertaining show, but I'm excited for next week. And again, for people that aren't huge football fans, we will have other people that aren't just sports stars and stuff like that. But hey, man, we have Rocky Blyer next week, a former Pittsburgh Steeler, 4-time Super Bowl champion. A great story, another wounded veteran. So I like to bring the veterans in, part of your guys' family. Wounded in Vietnam, had his leg almost blown off, but came back to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Art Rooney gave him that opportunity. He was part of the first tandems to rush for 1,000 yards. He and Franco Harris. You remember the Immaculate Reception. So he's going to join us next week. Some other surprises in the background that could be really awesome for that. And, I'm having fun with this, guys. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Oh, most definitely.
And, we're going to continue to have Anna Maria give us updates for job things. Could you have a little tease for us what you're working on for next week?
Probably the thing that I said. So when you're clicking on a job that you think that you might want, and the company that you think you might want to work for, is it real? Is the company real? Is the job real? Well, we're going to talk about that next week.
And Marcus, I know you have a lot of fans out there, so where can they find what you're doing? You got a lot of podcasts, you got a whole company, so let's get your plugs in.
Okay, well, if you want to, find more about the Transform You Media Network and what we have to offer, as far as like a full listen of other shows that are similar to how great this one is. You can head over to transformu.us. That's transform the letter U.us. The most prized possession over there, the top asset, is the Transform You live show. This is hosted by me. I do a live stream every Wednesday there. And then I also have a webinar that's coming up real soon. I'll give you more insight on that one. But for now, you can just head over to the website and there'll be updates on there.
All right, everybody. Well, I appreciate, again, you guys are just amazing people, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. So continue to join us every Thursday, 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern. We're back here in Connecticut for Ability MKE Now. Marcus Hart, Anna Maria Bliven. We'll see you next week, right? You'll be here? You'll join us?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Stay tuned for Ability MKE Now every Thursday. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all those good things. And don't forget about Dave Stevens Speaks. That's me. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all those fun places. So thank you for your support. Thank you, riverwestradio.com and WXRW. This has been Ability MKE Now with Dave Stevens, Marcus Hart, Anna Marie Blivens. Have a great week, everybody.